So let's take a closer look at the EQ section of the CL-12. The CL-12 includes 3-band EQ per channel, and there's 4 control knobs. The left knob is a control for low frequency boost and attenuation. The frequency is selectable in a menu from 60 Hz to 300 Hz, individually for each channel. The second and third knobs are frequency and gain adjustments for the mid-band, ranging from 400 Hz to 6 kHz for each channel. And the rightmost knob is a control for high frequency boost and attenuation. The frequency is selectable in a menu from 8 kHz to 16 kHz individually for each channel. Now, in addition to frequency and gain adjustments, there are other EQ parameters that you can adjust, and these are accessible from a new EQ menu in the CL-12 menu. Remember, the CL-12 menu is only accessible when you have a CL-12 connected to a 688. So to access that EQ menu, simply go to your menu and scroll down to CL-12 and then scroll down to the EQ menu. You could actually choose to program a shortcut on one of your user buttons to the EQ menu to get there even quicker. So let's take a look at some of these parameters. First on the list is Q factor, and this sets the width of your of the range of frequencies that you're going to boost or attenuate. And the setting can be from 0.707 to 2. The higher the value of Q, the narrower the range of frequencies that you are boosting. The next on the menu is the LF frequency select. Now here you can select the fixed frequency that the leftmost knob of the EQ section is going to boost or attenuate. And this frequency can be set anywhere from 60 Hz all the way up to 300 Hz. Likewise for the HF frequency value, this determines what frequency you are boosting or attenuating with your HF knob here on the right. And that can be adjusted from 8 kHz all the way up to 16 kHz. The next two menus determine the type of filter you're using for the LF section and the HF section. And they can be either peaking or shelving. And finally, we have the EQ routing menu, which determines how EQ is applied, whether it's applied to the input pre-fade or post-fade. Now, if you want EQ applied to both the ISO tracks and the mix tracks, select pre-fade. If you want to apply the EQ only to the mix tracks, then select post-fade, and this will leave your ISOs raw. Okay, so let's look at how to apply EQ to an input. It's really easy. You simply select a channel, then adjust any of the EQ knobs. In this case, I'm adjusting LF. Now look what happens. The 688 now displays what we call the EQ screen, which gives a great graphical representation of your EQ adjustments. In this case, I'm adjusting the low frequency gain up and down. Now I'm adjusting the mid-band frequency. Now the mid-band gain. And finally here, the HF gain. Now, anytime I can bypass any of these bands simply by pressing an encoder. So if I want to bypass the low frequency, I just press it. And you can see the word bypass appearing at the bottom of the LCD there. And also the LED below the LF knob extinguishes. If I activate it again, this tells me that there is active EQ and it's a non-zero value. If I turn that up until it's 0 gain, it goes out. Likewise, I can bypass the mid-band. Either pot will bypass. And likewise with the HF band. So notice here that if there's active high frequency gain applied, the LED glows green. Bypassed, green. If the mid-band is bypassed, the LED also goes out, but when it's active, it glows yellow. And the low frequency, when it's active, glows orange. Now, if any band is active, even if one band is active, the global EQ LED will illuminate blue. This extinguishes if no EQ is applied at all. So you can very quickly see by looking, if this is blue, that you have some form of EQ applied to that input. Okay, I'd quickly like to go over the output section here. Now there are 4 knobs for controlling the level of the L, R, X1 and X2 outputs. These can be set to control the level of the physical outputs of the 688 or the actual track levels. They can also be used for routing an input to a bus. So simply select the input you're interested in and then press the knob of the bus you're interested in routing to. So in this case, I'm routing input 2 to and from the left bus. The other knobs can be used in the same way. Now, obviously we have 22 segment metering here. Each bus has a limiter activity LED on the right hand side. And on the left hand side we have arm status LEDs for the left, right, X1 and X2 buses. To arm them, simply hold the arm button and press the output knob. Now you can see that in this case I've actually armed both with one button press, and that's because L and R are currently linked. In the case of X1 and X2, which are unlinked, I can set them individually. Now obviously I can link or unlink L and R and X1 and X2 from the outputs menu.